What's up, ninjas? TMNT Leo03 here, and today I'm playing Monster Loves You! I've played this before, but it doesn't show it because this is a different computer. But yeah. So it's basically a storyline slash visual novel slash choose your own adventure. Alright, help me begin your story. How does it go again? Long ago, deep in the forest, monsters called the whale nest. That's right, long ago, nestled in the heart of the forest was a monster village of Almond. You are born from slime that holds the memory of monsters known for actions and attitude. You're not awake yet, but soon your first eye will open. Your simple dreams will give way to life itself. You dream of facing frightening enemies unafraid. Your body is turning and twisting, growing solid in the middle of a great vat of green slime. It's time to be born. You awaken in the growing season when the forest is erupting with color. Your eye is open. You're a morsel, just barely born. You float in the spawning vat. Dozens of other morsels are exploring, flailing, and stealing food from each other. You bend and squirm, making your tiny legs grow and strengthen. Your legs are strong, but more importantly, you feel no fear. Darn straight. You paddle in a circle, then go back and forth, ignoring other morsels who hiss and spit at you. Another morsel swims towards you. It opens its mouth to show a set of small, sharp teeth. It bites you. You pause, unable to believe that another morsel is trying to eat. After a moment, you snap out of it and start to move again. Grr, you rip into the violent morsel. It has fangs, but you have claws. Your first snarl, excellent. When the fight is over, you're chewing on the other morsel's eye, which is all that remains. Splash, flutter, splish, squeak, another morsel is too weak to swim properly. It's sinking toward the bottom of the spawning vat. Oh no, that's terrible. You feel a deep sense of injustice at the smaller morsels' impending demise. If only you could do something about it. You swim to the morsel, determined to act. You rack your newborn brain. Wait, there's some animal bones and sticks rotting at the bottom, half hidden beneath the slime clumps. You swim to the bottom. Casting about, you gather some sticks and the long curving ribs of a deer. The morsel's own dissolving body holds everything together well. Half of its body is above the surface of slime. You swim in circles around the rescued morsel, keeping the cruel ones and biters away until your new friend begins to move and solidify. As you do, you feel dizzy. That's a first. You've never been dizzy before. Everything goes green. Your friend is gone, but not dead. Another morsel points to the edge of the spawning vat. While you slept, the weak one grew into a monsterling. You have grown too big for the spawning vat. You must move on to the next stage of life and become a monsterling. Going to get in some trouble, which is great. Exercise your bravery, cleverness, ferocity, kindness, and honesty. What kind of monster will you be? Adventure! Smark falls from a high ledge. He falls all the time. But wait, what's that? It's a bigger bat trying to knock pieces out of him. Tackle the huge bat with all your strength. It crumples like paper and sticks, crushed by the solid impact. You and Smark share the tasty bat carcass. No. Nash spies a delicious mouse-head mushroom. Mine! She plucks it from the floor, but it tumbles from her claws and bounces into a dark crevice in the wall. How'd he get it? You spit a glob of slime onto one claw, then reach as far in the crevice as you can. Success, you devoured the delicacy for yourself. Snake. What's that noise from the spawning vat? You rush over. A big snake is eating helpless morsels. They moan and cry, but it doesn't stop. You puff yourself up and approach the snake. It glances at you, then swallows another morsel whole. You get your claws around the snake's body, just behind its head. It coils around you, but you roll away from the vat and out of the cave. The snake crawls away as you laugh and shout. So, like, all these adventures will increase certain aspects about you, like bravery, cleverness, ferocity, honesty, and kindness, which will be very important in the end. Big old Hammerhead comes to the cave with a box full of metal cans. He says, "It's drink or douse day. These cans are full of what the humans call soda pop. Bubbly, liquidy sugar? You bet. But they also like to see who can chug the most, or endure the most exploding metal cans at once." The other monsterlings go through the cans, picking out the bulging and dented ones. You hear shaking sounds, swish, 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 and wacka, 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 and so on. And more cans are piled on top of you. So you can also lose some too. Everything is shaking in here. Somebody's kicking the jar. Next thing you know, Nashgas is dragging you behind her on a forest path. You can't seem to speak, but Nashgas sees you trying. She turns you and you realize you're just a head and a body part. Nash says, "We've been picking up pieces of you for hours." Elder Hammerhead says, "You won, you little monsterling. Now let's put together your pieces and see if you heal." Look, you just raised your claw. You're recovering. Doesn't that make you happy? You are halfway towards becoming an adolescent. Firm up your personality as much as you can. Some monsterlings are building little stone towers. Blotz comes to you with a heaping armload of smooth rocks. Do you think this is enough to build a tower? You tell Blotz he has too many rocks. He gives you half of them. You quickly build a statue that looks vaguely like Blotz carrying an armful of rocks. The other monsterlings look on in amusement. Even Blotz seems to enjoy it, though his own tower has suffered. Three days left, and each one of these, I think, is a day. On a walk around the cave, you notice a closed door set into the back of the wall. You don't remember seeing it there before. Because it's not ajar? There are scratching and growling sounds coming from the other side. Your pulse begins to race. You can't really see anything, but it was good. But it was a good thought. Gobclaws tumbles out, covered in green goo. She got stuck inside a storeroom full of rotting algae scum. Globclaws raises one pincher and blushes. It was covered with algae. I found it when I ate the stuff. Hammerhead, an adult monster, sleeps in a big pile of monsterlings. Everyone is comfortable. Blotz, giggling, sticks lichen in all four of Hammerhead's nostrils. Hammerhead's eyes shoot open as he starts to choke. Blotz shushes you with a threatening scowl. You jump on Hammerhead's head and knock some of the lichen loose. He squeals and gasps, then remembers that he can breathe through his mouth. Hammerhead glowers down past his jowls, scowling as though you hadn't saved him. He roars and demands to know who plugged up his nose. Hammerhead seems to smell your lie. The monster traps you under heavy rock and sits on it for a while as punishment. Blotz approaches you afterward and offers a quiet thank you for protecting him. Blistry climbs on top of the lichen pile. She refuses to let any other monsterlings eat, proclaiming herself ruler of the lichen pyre. You gather a small force of monsterlings to teach Blistry a lesson. What will you do? Nash distracts the ruler of the lichen pile while Blotz and Brock knock her down. Oh my, you wake up and find that you're no longer a monsterling. You're growing up. Elder Marinus calls the oldest monsterlings to gather in a group. You're one of the oldest ones now, so you should join them. She looks grave. Marinus shuffles down the long tunnel, turning this way and that among dozens of forking passages. She stops in a warm, humid chamber with a pit in the floor. She points to the pit, which sees thick mist. Marinus pushes you with a sweep of her tail. You fall and fall some more. Some of them are crying. Or is it fog? Where is this? You land on a smooth, flat stone. Despite the swirling vapor, the floor is dry as a bone. You hear other monsterlings breathing nearby. Some of them are still above you, falling. Oof, you don't see who you helped. Whoever it is rolls away in the thick fog without a word. You rejoin some of the monsterlings at the edge of the mist. There are more passages out of here than you can count. Some monsterlings begin to panic, while others look determined. The other monsterlings watch you, curious. You strike out with courage and confidence. The other monsterlings follow you. Choosing turns and forks at random, you soon walk into a cave full of even thicker mists. The chamber swirls with mist, smoke, fog, vapor, except it's not any of those things. It's ghosts, hundreds of them, large and small, they're everywhere. One by one, the pale ghosts begin to turn their attention to you. Their eyes glow different colors. Ghosts speak in many voices, all hollow and distant, all in unison. They ask you, do you fear? You scream and leap. The ghosts are insubstantial, swirling around your claws like nothing at all. Nothing at all. They laugh at you and prove that they're not entirely untouchable. Thin tendrils of mist circle around your throat and begin to squeeze. Bravery, yeah. So it gives you stats and stuff. You wake up inside a well-appointed hovel. This is your home now. And each time you play, it's a different design. So. You're not sure exactly how, but the conversation in Portent Square has turned into a bragging contest. Suddenly everyone looks at you, waiting. They all watch as you turn and swagger away, clearly impressed by your attitude and confidence. Huh. Teeth. As you're walking down the street, you feel a stinging sensation. Something just bit your foot. When you look down, you see a small pile of human teeth in a small wire mesh bag. Some monster must have dropped them. You visit Mupsy Moral, who agrees to publish a found ad in the Almond Harbinger, if you want. She says, I can do a feature on how honest you were today, too. When he sees the ad in paper, Hammerhag comes and gets all of his teeth back. You don't step up and take credit, but Mupsy whispers something to Hammerhag, who looks at you with dawning respect. You are heading home with a dead rabbit you found. Suddenly a fox appears. He sidles up to you and asks, You going to eat all of that? Most talking foxes are fatter and better fed than their stupid cousins, but this one is lean. You can see his ribs under his unkempt fur. You tear the rabbit in 2 pieces. It splits unevenly. One chunk has most of the meat, and the other is a bunch of tendons and skin. You and the fox enjoy the delicious rabbit. Crunchy. Mupsy Moral slithers up to you and says, I wonder if you can confirm a rumor for me. Hammerhag was baking a special 6 pork pie made from 6 kinds of pig, you know? A delicacy. I missed that one. Whoops. Oh. The pie was cooling on a windowsill and vanished. Your friend Nash Nash was seen nearby just before, but not after the vanishing. What do you think about this? Mupsy scratches some notes on a piece of torn paper. Interesting. What would you say about Nash Nash as a person? Later, Nash Nash visits your hovel holding a freshly printed copy of the Almond Harbinger. When she leaves, you have 100 new paper cuts. Loud, drooly snapping sounds come from the square where you see Proof Rock single-clawedly taking on a rampaging pack of wolves. He grunts to you for help. Bravery maxed. Making your ugliest faces, you and Prufrock terrify the pack, scattering the wolves into the forest. Nash Nash is picking on Tiny Blistery. She gets knocked down every time she gets up. Nash Nash asks if you want to help. Nash Nash shrugs. I feel like it, and look at those tears. Without even thanks, Blistery runs away, leaving you and Nash Nash to tussle in the street. Do you push the attack? You turn and walk away. Nash Nash tackles you from behind and begins slashing your back with her claws. The 2 of you struggle until you're both hurt too badly to continue. Nash Nash says, Good fight. You, Nash Nash, and the Scapegoat are having an impromptu picnic in the street. The fresh moss you dunk in your tea is delicious. Some birds, twittering and chirping in a friendly way, circle and land among the crumbs. The birds start pecking at the crumbs, then they start hopping onto you and pecking at you, too. You have crumbs on you, and they want them, right now. They're annoying, but they're better than ants. Those things get into monsters' pelt and itch like mad. Greed Blitz walks past your stoop. He stops, coughs, and tilts his head, proudly showing off his Bay's pal hat. It makes him look ridiculous. Some human sport involving large wooden bats. Oh, baseball. It's something you could see making an appearance in monster culture. Baseball. Greedblitz says, I gave a talking fox a whole bushel of rabbits for it. He said it's what all the smartest humans are wearing these days. Monsters walk by pointing and snickering at their ridiculous chapeau as they do. Speed Blitz gleams, misinterpreting your intention. A duck's face I stole from the humans. He moves away to show others. Adolescence is fleeting. You have grown beyond youth and have become an adult. You've been dragged from your bed by your friends and neighbors. They surround you and hold you down, not ungently, until you stop struggling. Neighbors throw you into the center of a great circle of monsters all older than you. They whisper to each other, then look at you, then whisper some more. Monsters murmur and mutter, spit and snarl. They're deciding what best defines you as a monster. After a while, the muttering stops, though the murmuring goes on for some time longer. Finally, the assembled monsters come to a decision. The ring of monsters shuffles closer to you, forming a tighter circle. Elders loom over you while the smaller adults crouch low. Your surroundings grow shadowy and dark. The other monsters hold you to some respect. 6 out of the possible 100 points. Everyone goes silent as you bravely meet every monster's eyes without flinching. All the monsters in the circle start throwing rocks at you. Success, you stand perfectly still, showing no fear. A few rocks bounce off your hide, but most of them only hit the ground. Everyone cheers at your courage. They throw more rocks, really messing you up, and you never flinch. Someone at the back yells, "Don't you feel pain?" You're an adult now. You'll grow stronger over time, but your personality is no longer as mutable as when you were young. You stalk the forest, hunting an elusive swift elk. Suddenly it emerges from the underbrush, lowering its antlers and pawing at the ground. It's going to charge. The elk charges and you duck under it, slashing a hole in its chest. But instead of a heart, you find nothing. The elk turns, catches you with its antlers, and flings you into a tree. The elk bounds away. It's unkillable. You keep chasing the elk until it pauses to drink from a stream. Then you spring at it without fear and tear it limb from limb, head from body, antler from skull. Its pieces are still twitching as you devour them. You are soon filled with a strange heat, but soon it fades. Other monsters comment on the new swagger in your step as you return to the almond. Today's the day of Spinner 500, the big spider race. Winners are regarded highly by all around town. But your spider hurt her leg this morning. What should you do? With a tear and a smile, you and your spider watch from the stands. The spider sucks the butter out of popcorn and gives you 4 tiny thumbs up at once. She rubs her healing leg and says, "Next year is the year, if a bird doesn't eat me." You find a red hood and a basket in the middle of a forest path. A human house is nearby. Funny, you never noticed it before. There's a white picket fence out front. They're too damaged to be considered proper artifacts, but they're interesting. You take the lead on a hunt in the whale mist, but you've become separated from the group. Suddenly you catch sight of something. There! Within the thicket, rumor has it that an especially large, clever snake tricked Nash Nash, biting her and made her sick for days. And it's right there, waiting, watching. You slowly creep up on it, sharpening your claws. Suddenly you stop. A print in the dirt is clear from Nash Nash's foot, and that's definitely dried monster blood around it. You perch on a branch above the crude snare and beat 2 rocks together to attract the snake's attention. Suddenly the snake drops from a branch above you. You struggle, but it's too late. It crushes you with its terrible strength. Next thing you know, Nash Nash has pounced on the snake. She grabs its head and holds its mouth shut, keeping its fangs trapped. Nash Nash bites the snake's head off and swallows it. You gasp as the coils loosen. Nash Nash is carried through Almond by a group of cheering monsters while you are left to recover on your own. A squirrel hops in a pool of sunlight, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, ready to bury nuts and make something of itself. You drop on it from a branch, grab it, and twist its head off. A young wolf suddenly leaps in front of you, snaps the squirrel out of your claws, and runs off, laughing and barking. A second squirrel creeps up and pokes at the discorporated head of the first one. You grab the new squirrel and chew on it a little, thinking. You grab a few more squirrels and pretend to be absolutely furious, stomping and waving your claws in the air. Yes, next you go back to Amin. You hand out the squirrels, quietly telling everyone to hold onto them without eating them yet. Indeed, the wolf tries her trick again, and you dodge. She falls into the pit where the great goat greets her with scritchy horns and an intimidating three-eyed glare. You show your newest collection of human artifacts to your neighbors. They seem suitably impressed and listen in. The truth is, you just found them in the woods, but everyone seems to be so interested it would be a shame to let them down. Monsters do love a story, so you could stretch their truth. By the time you're halfway done with the tale of your peaceful walk back to Almond with the artifacts, Hammerag is asleep and everyone else has gone home. You come upon a scene of hundreds of frogs, all gathered on a stream bank. They're ribbiting back and forth in what is clearly a debate of some kind, watched by a stork. Half of the frogs surround a log as though it's their leader. The other half are huddled at the feet of somewhat bemused stork. Try as you might, you can't translate their croaks into intelligible language, but they do start jumping up and down on the log. The stork takes a long step and impales 3 frogs on its beak. It throws its head back, tossing the frogs in the air and snaps them up. As the other frogs flee, the bird devours several more of the slowest. Gobclaw shows off a human doll she found in the last hunt. A crowd of elders and other monsters gather around you, chattering excitedly. She asks if you think it might be good to show the doll to some of the monsterlings. Let them see a human-shaped thing without actually seeing a real human, you know? Educational. Gobclaws can see that you're bringing some science here. She hangs on to your words, as does the rest of the crowd. Gobclaws nods. Good point. Globclaw says, "You're wiser than me." The rest of the monsters nod, half-heartedly, but you can tell they appreciate your insight. You and Nash Nash encounter the Proud Bear. This is an honor and a problem. The Proud Bear has killed monsters, something rare in the animal kingdom. He stares at you. The bear is so potent that it deserves capital letters when being referred to. He shines from within, radiating a light invisible to the eye but plain to the heart. The bear doesn't move. You go back the way you came. You sit with Nash Nash and Gobclaws on a tattered blanket, eating cookies and talking about artifacts. Gobclaw sighs. "I really like artifacts. I want a nice big collection, but it seems I can never find any good ones." You and Nash Nash exchange glances. Nash Nash runs a claw along the handlebars of her little scooter. You both know some good spots. You open your mouth but gasp as Nash Nash kicks you, hard. Nash Nash whispers, "That'll be less stuff for us. I don't care if you have less stuff, but if I do, you're in big trouble." She pokes you with her claws to make a point. Gobclaws clicks her pinchers happily as she does a little dance of things. She scuttles off into the woods to check out the places you described. Nash Nash makes good on her promise of big trouble in the form of a thorough drubbing. You crawl back to your home, exhausted and bleeding. A pack of monsters sets out to capture the honeyed bees, a special swarm that carries its hive along with it in small pieces. The sweet odor of rich honey is everywhere along the forest trails. Blech. Blistry says, "Me first, and I'm not sharing either. It's every monster for herself today." Nash Nash nods and flexes her claws as everyone splits up. You take a nap in the shadow of thicket trees. Awakened by the approach buzzing wings, you jump into the swarm and escape with a delicious honeycomb. The snake moon is rising in the sky and it's time to gather snakes for the ritual. You wander the fields near the whale mist. It's easy to catch snakes, but every time you reach for another one, some of them squirm out of your grasp. Most of your snakes are getting away. Everyone claps when you arrive with 3 living snakes hanging from you by their fangs. The snakes are added to the cauldron along with a mass of other snakes, some withering and others lying still. You're following a deer in the forest when the trail comes to an abrupt end just in front of a cave entrance. The hoofprints look strange, like a deer doubled back, walking backwards in its own tracks. It's a trap. You charge in the cave, claws bared, and find Hammerhead taking a nap inside. Your attack is so ferocious that he wakes up screaming, "Hey, you've grown stronger," he says. A small pack of elder monsters are huddled at the edge of Amen, watching the woods and discussing something in hushed tones. Whoops. Okay. The spine doctor has asked you to catch a special fox. It limps, she says, and it coughs. I need it quickly, if at all. You go forth in the forest trailing the fox. As you get closer, you catch a glimpse of its ragged ears between 2 trees. The fox is limping slowly. As you draw near, you smell something sickly sweet. The fox slumps and vomits green matter onto the forest floor. Your claws tremble at the thought of touching it. Fox sickness can't harm a monster. The fox tries to scare you off last moment by throwing up again, but you snatch it in your claws. The doctor accepts the fox with delight. She nods to several patients waiting to see her. You see, friends, this one shows promise. The spine doctor squeezes the fox, forcing it to throw up in a row of rat cages. She says, "Now I can use the rats to make medicine, so we can cure animals we care about." You're growing old, my friend. Your body is very soft and you drip slime everywhere you go. It's getting hard for you to leave your hovel. A group of elders is waiting at the door of your hovel. They've seen your drippings. They know it's time for you to dissolve or ascend. The elders of Amen surround you at the spawning vat. They've built a fire beneath a small cauldron. Your body is squishy and damp. You start to move away only to realize that the elders have formed a wall cutting you off to escape. Many eyes are on you. You start to move one way and several of the others shuffle into your path. You dash the other way and bowl over several unprepared monsters. Before the other elders realize it, you're long gone. You stop running just outside of town, gasping. What are you going to do? Every wishing breath turns into a gurgle as your softening lungs fill with slime. You wait in your almond, lurking close to the forest paths you walked so many times in the past. Your body quivers as you drip more of yourself on the ground. You hold on through sheer force of will. Nash flees. 3 days later, her arms already melting. As she plunges deeper into the forest, you step onto her trailer. You snarl and wave your blobbly limbs, splattering the pursuers with slime. They are completely fooled. They kill you, of course. Your last thought is that she might be ferocious enough to rule the animals. Perhaps she can change the future. The end. Over the years, the elements that made up your body find their way into myriad plants, animals, and other monsters, and even humans. Monsters are now magical, so in a very real sense, they are now in part you. And then you get like little achievement things. So yeah, that's it for this episode. I will see you guys in my other videos. Peace.